I've decided for now we're going to call this the otaku pile, because it could be manga, it could be light novels, it could be webtoons, it could be anything, usually weeb related. So it's in a pile next to me, so we're going to call it that. This is the first entry of the otaku pile, and what we have today is a box I was sent last month by Ize Press through their imprint. It's either called Ize Press or Ize Press. I'm going to call them Ize Press. If that's wrong, somebody let me know. I'm just going to do that. There might be other things that I pronounce wrong in this video too, because this is about a Korean webtoon. It's got Korean names I'm going to be referring to and Korean terms I'm going to be referring to, and I'm probably pronouncing them wrong because I'm used to pronouncing things the Japanese way, and I'm not used to pronouncing things the Korean way. I looked up the pronunciation of some of them, but not all of them, and I might still be getting it wrong with those as well. So, we got this box. It got sent to me because I've gotten review copies from Ize Press before, so I must be on a list they still have, but this is the first time I ever got a box like this out of nowhere from them. There was no like warning or advance thing, and I've never gotten anything from Ize Press before, even though apparently they've been sending boxes out to people for a while for some releases. So this is the first time I've gotten one of them. So it was very interesting to get, and thank you to them for sending that over. When I got this box, I was confused at first. I figured after a while when I saw Ize Press, I was like, oh, this is probably a Ize Press thing, right? And then I looked it up and it's like, oh, it's a Ize Press thing. But also, you'll see on the box, it says the title of the series here, okay? 7FATES CHAKHO with BTS, okay? Now, I don't know anything about K-pop. I don't know anything about Korean entertainment industry, okay? I don't know jack shit about it. I do know BTS exists. I don't know anything about BTS. I was immediately like, why does this say with BTS? I don't know what that means. I don't know. I guess it's co-produced in part by Webtoon and then also by HYBE, which is entertainment industry that I'm assuming manages BTS and other big K-pop entertainers. That's my assumption. I could be blowing this all on my ass for all I know. Let's open up the box and I'll show you guys what we got here. First things first, when you open the box, you get a bag. Nice little cloth bag, which I believe is Chakho 7FATES. It is. It's an alright bag. It's got the nice cover art for the volume at least. Kind of reminds me of that one meme, the fucking Morbius manga meme that was going around. I don't know what it, Kagurabachi? Something like that. Anyways, so we got a nice cloth bag to start. We also got a couple, I don't think they're stickers. I tried seeing if one of them was a sticker, and they don't seem like they're stickers, but they look like they would be stickers. They might just be photo cards of Ize Press, and then each of the series that is sort of covered in the book, because the main one is Chakho 7FATES, but we also got a preview booklet in here of these two series, the Star Seekers and Dark Moon, the Blood Altar. We got those that we can cover too. Now, I also got this. Now, initially, I assumed this is a button. It looks like a button. It looks like a pin. You're supposed to be able to pin it. This is not a pin. There is no pin on the back. It is a mirror. It's a Chakho 7FATES mirror. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Apparently, that's a thing. They just sell mirrors that just look like buttons or like pins. I didn't know that was a thing. I was very confused by that at first. I'm like, where's the pin on this pin? And it's a mirror. So it's interesting. And then we have this preview booklet, which, like I said before, has Dark Moon, the Blood Altar, and the Star Seekers. I believe it's like a couple pages of the first chapters. It's not even like a full chapter of them. It's a couple pages of the first chapters. I read this as well. I'll go like very briefly explain. These two series, I was kind of more interested than the one I actually got. I'll get more into why later, more in depth, but the main thing I'll just tell you about the plots for these two. The Star Seekers is about this superhero entertainment industry world where all the K-pop groups also have magic abilities and they use that to enhance their performance, and the main group that stars in this series has no magical abilities, so the management's like, what the fuck, why haven't your abilities developed yet? You're supposed to have them. The main character in the group is like the son of a very famous pop star in this world, so he's like disappointed in that or something like that. It seemed interesting to me, this like entertainment sort of drama thing with a mixture of like magical abilities mixed in for the entertainment. That's really cool to me. You don't get into anything really with a plot for it though in the preview. You're just like, yeah, entertainment world has powers, these guys don't have any, so they're treated like shit in the industry. Maybe they'll do something, maybe not, I don't know, but I get the series when it comes out to find out. I don't even know if it's out yet. Maybe it is. And the other one is, I believe it's going to be a reverse harem. The main heroine girl moves to this academy to try to hide from everybody accused her of being a vampire because of her weird abilities, which seems to just be that has super strength. And people just assume she's a vampire in this world. And I guess this world has magic and vampires and all that stuff. So she attends this academy, and she's like, yes, I finally got in. Now people will stop accusing me of being a vampire here. I get my own room to myself. Apparently, several boys at the academy are going to be vampires. Probably most, if not all. But it's got really, really fun expressions with the main character girl that like really hooked me in immediately. I'm interested in that one as well. So those two were really interesting previews for me to like give me a little taste of the kind of things that I would be interested in usually. And then we get into the actual volume that we received, which is 7FATES CHAKHO, which personally, I'll just tell you right off the bat, personally, it's not for me. Personally, I didn't feel like I was the target audience for this kind of story. It is very good overall with what it's doing. It's just not for me, is all I'm trying to say. But that's just trying to get right off the bat with that. But I will explain in detail what we got going on here, what it's about, and why I feel like that for me personally. I am interested in certain things about this. First things first, I do want to mention too, I wanted to be able to accurately talk about the people behind this series and the other ones. I can't exactly. They list themselves as created by Hybe, co-produced by Webtoon, and the only other information I get is that this is lettered by Abigail Blackman, who I think is the only actual name credited. And I know Abigail Blackman, not personally, but I know them from their past works that they've lettered. I believe they've lettered a couple series that I've read. They've done lettering for Scum's Wish, I Don't Know How to Give Birth. I think they did Delicious in Dungeon. Oh, and Shibuya Goldfish. Oh my god, Shibuya Goldfish was certainly something. That's not their fault. And I think they're doing Oshinoko right now. So, I mean, but like I said, that's the only real name that is credited for this, at least in these editions and all that, because I'm not familiar with the Webtoon scene, with how a lot of these series are produced. My main experience with Webtoons that I've had has been, I've read like a couple little bits of what I consider actual Webtoons, and then the rest of it has just been Manwha, or whatever they're called, the hentai world of the Webtoons, okay? Because those are high quality, okay? I'll have you know, okay? That's high quality fiction right there. I was not familiar with these series. They're like done by Webtoon Studios. When I looked this up, it's by a studio called REDICE. REDICE. I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce it either way, but it's all credited under like one studio, which it lists the staff that are in the studio, but I don't know how I feel about that for like not being able to say this one artist worked on this thing. I don't know. I don't even get like a hint as to who did most of the planning for this kind of stuff, who's the one who focused on the art for it. I don't know anything about that, and we're not given enough rubber credits with that. Kind of reminds me of like when you see a translation of certain things and it just credits it to like the translation company or whatever. Like, I don't know who translated this. I don't know who the letterer was. Who am I supposed to? I don't know. That was just like a little personal thing that I was a little, I don't know if this is just a common thing with Korean entertainment stuff where there's just credit all things under one company name and not the individual people for various reasons. I don't know. But I will say, my assumption with the fact that this lists 7FATES CHAKHO with BTS, my assumption is that all the characters are supposed to be based on the members of BTS. That's my assumption. When I try to look it up, it says it's starring like Jungkook and all them, and I'm like, what does that mean, starring in a webtoon? Does that mean they are the characters? Is there an audio version where they're reading for the characters? I don't know what that means. My assumption, from whatever I could find, was that the characters are based on them. That was my assumption. If I'm wrong about that, and you know otherwise, let me know in the comments. And I believe that's the same for these other series as well, are also featuring different K-pop groups, I'm assuming. Dark Moon says with N-hyphen, and the Star Seeker says with Tomorrow X together. So I'm assuming those are other K-pop groups. All of them are created by Hybe, which I'm assuming is one big entertainment group which manages all these different groups, and they're all getting mangas based on them. That's my assumption. With all that kind of background out of the way with that, let's get into... Oh, actually, wait, there's one more thing. This apparently comes with a poster. CHAKHO 7FATES. I didn't actually take this out. I know it unfolds. It's like a double-sided poster. Let me see if I can take it out without ruining everything here. Okay. We got a poster here. This is the volume cover. And then this is the whole group. Oh, damn. Oh, my God. I got no room for it. Maybe, no, it's kind of small. I could probably find some room somewhere. We'll see. Let's get right into 7FATES CHAKHO with the review here. I had a couple questions going into this, okay? What does CHAKHO mean? Is that the name of their team? Yes, it's the name of the team. But it's also a reference. The whole series itself is a reference to a Korean folktale about a bear and a tiger in a cave, and I believe it was like the god challenging them to stay within the cave and live on like certain foods or whatever, and the tiger leaves eventually and the bear stays. There's probably a lot more to that folktale, but it's supposed to be related to that kind of folktale. Chakho as a Korean term is apparently a reference to old Korean tiger hunters who would hunt like tigers or like other big large predators in like mountain areas and stuff like that, which apparently doesn't really exist as much today, but that was like, there was a whole group called the Chakho Gaspa or something like that. It used to be like the name of the term for those like predator hunters or whatever. 7FATES CHAKHO is based on that because the bad guys are tiger monster people from another dimension. They are called the Bum. It's spelled B-E-O-M. So initially I think it's pronounced Biom. Apparently when I look it up, they're telling me it's pronounced Bum. So I'm going to call them the Bum. Okay, I'm going to call them the Bum, as ridiculous as that makes me feel to say. I'm going to call them the Bum. Our main character boy, his name is Zeha. I believe that's how you pronounce it. His parents died when he was young in mysterious ways. He's never known, and he's sort of was curious about it at first, and eventually just kind of gave up on wondering it. And one day he gets approached by a random guy. So basically says, I know how your parents died. Yeah, I'll tell you if you go to the secrets. The answer's at like this mountain area. Goes to the mountain area, gets like hypnotized by a tiger guy there who tricks him into opening a portal to release all the other bums into the world. So all the tiger people are coming in from another world. Because apparently his mother was the gatekeeper from the Gom tribe, which I believe is a reference to the bear tribes. Again, the reference to the bear and the tiger or whatever folktale. So he's half of the tribe that was protecting the gate so that the tiger people could not cross into their world. And the other half, his father's side, is as a bum. He's half tiger person, half like gatekeeper person or whatever. And he gets tricked into opening the gate through like a song. And the gate's open and all these tiger people coming in and they're starting to kill everybody in the area and causing mischief. And so the story is focusing on both his journey, him eventually joining up with this group of like 6 other people with him, which would be the 7FATES CHAKHO, you know, it's right there in the title, the members of BTS there, go and hunt tigers, and they are fighting the Biom. He's fighting the Biom, 1, for revenge for his parents and for tricking him, and 2, because he's broke. They put a bounty on the bums once they realize that they're a threat. The bounty was something like 50 million won, which is about like 37,000 USD right now. I checked it before I started recording this. So it's about that much, 37,000 for each bum you kill. Sounds like a pretty good deal if you don't die, if you're good at hunting. Zeha is not good at hunting at the beginning. He just assumes he would be because he finds out he's half tiger person. So he's like, that means I can fight, right? No, it does not mean you could fight, Zeha. What the fuck are you doing? But thankfully, he's got a new best bro who's just kind of following him now. Was the rock/gate between the worlds until Zeha like opened it up, I guess, and that gate/rock thing turned into a person and is just kind of hanging with him, and it seems like a spiritual magic-y kind of dude whose name I can't remember. He eventually starts trying to train him. He gets like a little training arc that you don't get to watch or whatever, but Zeha can't fight for shit. As soon as he tries to fight a Biom, gets his ass kicked, somehow survives because another group showed up and killed the thing, or like maybe he like hit it a little bit, but another group showed up and essentially stole his kill from him, beat the shit out of him when he tried to say, leave the head, I want to make my money off this thing. They beat the shit out of him because fuck you, you don't know what you're doing, you're just an amateur, you don't deserve it, we're better than you, get fucked. The other group looked badass, by the way. Their like outfits are like these cool like neon green fucking shining parts of their outfits and like all these cool weapons. Fucking cool. Group, which is not him and his squad yet. You don't really see the other members of his squad yet, except in like the beginning chapter. The beginning is like a preview action scene of the whole group of 7, which seems like they're doing pretty cool fight scenes. I do have a problem though. I have not read, this is my first time reading a webtoon physically. I've read a couple things online of webtoons, especially the horny stuff, okay? But I've read a couple actual webtoons too, not too many, but a couple. For those of you not familiar with webtoons, they're designed to be read on either a phone or a computer or something where you can just scroll down infinitely, okay? So you're meant to be able to scroll. It's vertical, okay? It's not like a regular manga where it's each page and you go horizontal. You're supposed to go vertical. So they design them almost like long scrolls of stories, which is pretty cool. Translating that into a physical book is a little difficult to not feel a little awkward when you're reading it at times. It is very cool when you realize how much work they had to put in to make it readable in this format. It's pretty cool to appreciate, I will give it that, but it still kind of makes it feel, I don't know, a little awkward for me personally at times to read them when you're changing it to a different medium almost, right? Like it's the same art medium, but it's different because the presentation was designed in a certain way and now it's being changed to a different way. You know, like I said, there's an art form to adapting it to that other way, but there were intended purposes that are no longer there as a result of doing the adaptation. This is kind of, you know, something that you'll have with any kind of adaptation to a different type of medium. A light novel versus a manga versus an anime. There's going to be different layers. You will never have like a one-to-one thing that will be like completely great because there's always something new that's added for an intended reason, right? A manga might be a lot more detailed than an anime panel of the same thing, right? Because of different reasons. Anime, they have to be able to make it move in certain ways, and it has to be able to move in a way that they want it to look and is within their budget or budget / scheduling, whatever, to like make work. And in certain panels, you're not really meant to see them move in real time. You're just meant to like feel that motion. And it's a whole thing. I think about that when I read this too, because again, this is my first experience reading a webtoon physically. I do also have the first volume of Solo Leveling somewhere in the pile, which I think I took a look at like the first page, and then I was like busy with something else, so I put it down for a second, and then I just never went back to it. So I do have that, which I'll probably talk about in a future video. Yeah, this was like a little taste of how it feels to read it with those kind of design changes. I can tell it feels awkward in places. It was not too bad here, but that's mostly because a lot of this book is action scenes, and at times with the action scenes packed in like that, it can look cool, or it can make things very confusing for me about what I'm supposed to be looking at first, you know, because you're intended to see one of these scenes at a time vertically, but now they're all side by side with things happening, and in some cases that's perfectly fine. In other cases, it just feels awkward with the bubbles that are going on too, and how it's being read. I don't know. It's not really a fault of Chakho itself. It's more just a fault of the natural consequence of adapting it in that kind of way in general. It's always going to happen if you're trying to make it like physical, unless you're just making it like an actual long paper scroll thing, which I can't imagine would be that. I mean, maybe there's some novelty to that, but I can't imagine that'd be great for like selling purposes. I don't know. Story-wise with the characters, there was one other character that they introduced later on, Do-gyeon, who is going to be another member of the Seven Fates, I'm assuming. He seems like it's the gun guy in the group. Him and his group that he had before were like arms dealers or like gun runners and stuff. His group went to do like one last job to make some money for Do-gyeon's birthday, and they all fucking died from bums that showed up. Oh my god, I feel so goofy to say bum, okay, because when I say bum, I think of like fucking derogatory terms for homeless people. Listen, okay, they're tiger people. The tiger people show up and they fight the group, they fucking massacre them. Do-gyeon just comes up and they're like all fucking dead. He starts trying to fight them. I can think a couple like bigger biomes show up, and eventually Zeha shows up and he knows how to fight now, and he's actually like able to do stuff. And then it just kind of ends because it's volume 1. There is a lot of action packed in. I just kind of like ran through a lot of the more important plot stuff that's happening. There's a couple reasons, but this really isn't the type of series for me personally. I can be fine with certain action heavy series if I have characters that I'm actually like invested in certain ways. I'm not really invested in Zeha. Zeha's whole thing is just, I don't know what happened to my parents, and then I got tricked into allowing all the tiger people in, and now I want revenge. I don't really care much for that for him. I don't know. Maybe that's just me personally. I don't really care that much for that for him. Maybe the other characters would be a lot more interesting. Rock Dude's not really giving me, I say Rock Dude, but it's like the gate person or whatever. He's not really giving me anything to work with. Do-gyeon seems like he could be cool, but I don't know. I mean, the main thing I got from him is just that he's sad about his last group dying. I don't know. I understand this is supposed to be an introduction volume, so I understand the point is just to set up the concept, the premise. I think what really makes this not for me is I always appreciate the webtoons like art styles when it comes to characters. And I really do appreciate, compared to manga, how they're all full colored. These are full color because they're designed to be read online, whereas manga is usually black and white because it's designed to be read in a physical printed thing eventually. So they don't typically make them in color because then it costs more to print that usually, or it doesn't look as good when it's printed and you turn the color into black and white or whatever. I really appreciate that with webtoons, being able to know that they're all going to be fully colored, nicely shaded. It's going to be a wonderful time. The only problem though here is I don't know if it's just the colors or just the world of the setting in general. I don't really get a sense for the world in a way that I care about. Like, it seems like it's something to where it does not give a shit about how the world is. You get like a couple shots of how South Korea looks in this world, and then you get a couple shots of how fucking destructive the tiger people are, and it just kind of comes off like the whole world has been fucked the whole time from like an apocalypse thing that they're constantly dealing with, when really it doesn't seem like they are. It sounds like in this world like tiger people are there and they cause trouble sometimes, but it's not like this hugely destructive thing that's like ravaging all of the world and making it the end times like this kind of makes it out to be. It's just that there's some hunters that are hunting these tiger people for like $40,000 or something like that. Like, I don't know. When I look at the fight scenes, I'm like, some of the fight scenes can look cool, but I would much rather have character-driven moments as opposed to the action-driven moments. I guess for me, personally, it was a little too action-heavy of an introduction. I understood it with the opening chapter because you wanted to showcase all the other characters, and I understood it later on when we're introducing Do-gyeon and Zeha fighting in too, but I don't know. Again, most of this is just a me thing. Overall, 7FATES CHAKHO is a very interesting webtoon if you're interested in the Korean folktale about tigers and bears brought into the modern day world with, I believe this would be referred to as low fantasy kind of setting. My only problem personally is just that I don't really care much for the actual setting itself. I'm not given enough of the actual setting, and the characters themselves don't really grip myself personally too much in the beginning. I understand a lot of the selling point of this is the BTS tie-in. As somebody who does not know anything about K-pop or BTS, I didn't even know that this main character is supposed to be based off Jungkook or any of the other people in BTS. Jungkook's like the only name I actually know from BTS, so I didn't know that they're supposed to be members of BTS or inspired by them in some way. I don't know if they're supposed to look like them. I have no idea. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with this. It's more of like a me thing. When I look at a lot of the pages and the action stuff, it's very orange. The whole world's like these yellows and oranges and like sometimes slight purples, but it just comes off like the world is a post-apocalypse wasteland of tiger people, but it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a modern / futuristic kind of South Korea, which is now also dealing with tiger people. People have these like super weapons to like fight these tiger people, and he's got some sword techniques now going on, which again we skipped the training montage for him to just get right to the action. It's hard to like, I don't know, it's tough. I kind of waited a bit before I started talking about this because when I got this a month ago and I read it and I was like, it's not for me. So I didn't really know if I wanted to write a whole thing about it, because I'm assuming whenever you get one of these in the mail, they're assuming you cover it in some kind of way, either an article or a video or something like that. But I was hesitant about it because I'm just like, this really wasn't meant for me, you know? But it's like, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just a couple like minor things with me where it doesn't like grip me when I read it, you know? It doesn't like appeal to me as much as maybe it should. Like I said, the others that get in the preview booklet, these other series do interest me, okay? So if you guys didn't want to send me a review copy of these, I'd be interested. But again, I don't know anything about the K-pop groups involved, so if you're expecting that, I have no idea. But like I said, it's not bad. I just don't know if I would highly recommend it personally. If you know anything about BTS, if you're interested in a low fantasy action with tiger people, check it out. This first volume does not introduce you to all the members of the 7FATES, or all the members of the Chakho, I guess. You get introduced to like 3 of them. I mean, in the intro chapter, you see how they are in action, but you don't actually meet the other ones until later, I guess. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I will say, very good quality with the physical book. You got nice, shiny, glossy covers. Very nice quality paper for the pages because it's all full color. So I don't know if you refer to these pages as mattes or something like that. I don't know. One day I'll figure out the terminology you're supposed to use for the actual texture of books and stuff, and then I can express that to you guys in a better way. I don't know if you would call this glossy or if you would call it matte. I'm not sure. It's not like... It's a little shiny, but it's not like super duper like plasticky. It's just like very good, thick quality, like, colored paper. Very good. Thank you to Ize Press for sending me that little fun box for 7FATES CHAKHO. It is very good if you're interested in an action-packed webtoon series about fighting tiger people. It's got nice full color, it's got nice Korean folktale ties, and it's got the BTS tie-in. If you're a fan of BTS, this is probably a definite buy for you. At least that's my assumption. I don't know how much the characters actually do seem like they relate to the actual members of BTS. Maybe they're like directly related in personality too. I have no idea. Maybe there's references to their songs. No clue at all. If you are a fan of BTS or K-pop in general, and you know anything about these band members and can express to me exactly what seems to be the tie-in with them, let me know in the comments or wherever, or Discord. I don't know. You can figure it out and let me know. That was the first episode of the Otaku Pile. I guess I'll call it the Otaku Pile for now. I was considering calling it the Manga Pod because usually it's manga, but sometimes I might talk about light novels. Sometimes I might talk about whatever's just I feel like talking about that's in the pile next to my desk. Sometimes it's books. Sometimes it's manga. Sometimes it might just be some random like Kindle thing I just read. Maybe I'll talk about a Kindle thing in the future because I do have a lot of stuff I get on my Kindle that's not even a physical thing. But I do have to work through all of this stuff. Which, again, I built up a spreadsheet of all the stuff that I do want to go through of my physical stuff. I linked in the last video, but I'll link it again in this one, description, and you check all that and let me know. Don't know how much I'll actually edit this video. Maybe there'll be some pictures. Maybe there won't be. I don't know. I'll figure it out as I work through it. So that's all for now. Thank you so much for the stuff. Thank you so much to Abigail Blackman for lettering the series. I feel like they did a fantastic job. Don't know if them or who else was involved for the production of this in terms of like the adaptation, the process of converting it from vertical to horizontal, but amazing job for whoever was involved with that. Don't know if Abigail was involved with that, but if you did, great job. I would love to personally thank more people directly responsible. Apparently, I don't really know. I just know REDICE or REDICE worked on this, so thanks to you guys. Thank you to all the people over there, I guess. I don't know any individual people though. So we got REDICE, Hybe, and Abigail Blackman. Thank you. And Ize Press. Bye, everybody. See you next time.